Job. This week, we're talking about the book of Job. Not Job, like I thought it was for years of my life, but Job, everyone. Bible. Okay, the book of Job belongs in the wisdom literature collection in the Hebrew scriptures. So some other wisdom literature books are going to be Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. We'll get to those later. But genre is really important when we read the Bible. And the book of Job, this genre is wisdom literature. It's supposed to teach us about God's wisdom and how God relates to all of creation, and in this story, we're going to ask questions of God's character. Wisdom books in the Bible ask us to consider what it is like to live wisely in our broken reality in our pursuit of God. Okay, I'm going to summarize the book real quick for you. Now, this isn't a very historical summary. This is a summary or a commentary that second grade Delaney wrote on the book of Job. Here goes. And in second grade, I was 7, so this is 7-year-old Delaney. Or 6, who knows. There once lived a faithful man named Job. Satan did hurtful things to Job. God gave Satan rules. God said, "Do not kill Job." So Satan killed his animals, his wife, and his child. And Satan gave him boils. And he cursed his day of his birth. But he did not curse God. Job was very poor and was very sad. He was very old. The end. Now, that kind of isn't the greatest summary, but it works here. So let's go through the summary together. So in the book of Job, it's about a man named, you guessed it, Job. And Job trusted God and was deemed righteous by the people in the land of Uz. And the story talks about this figure, Satan, who is an opposing character in this story. And Satan opposes and challenges God and says, Job's only trusting you because he has nice things. And God said, okay, so then take away his nice things, but you can't kill him. Job ends up being devastated, and his life is just in shambles. He has boils on his skin, which those are really gross, so you never want to have those. But Job is devastated, and for the most part, he still trusts God, but he's cursing, he's grieving, he's crying out in deepest sorrow, and he's asking questions. Is God wise, and is God just? Because it doesn't feel like it when the whole world around me is crashing down, when Job's in the midst of his deepest suffering. God is not punishing Job in this book, and he's not rewarding him either. This book isn't about if you're good, then you get good things, and if you're bad, you get punished. This book is asking questions of God's character. This overarching question is God wise and is God just? And that's what the book of Job is all about. The climax of this book, so the greatest part of the story, it's all these poems and Job's cursing at himself, and he's just so angry, and he's grieving, and he's questioning basically even his own existence. He cursed the day he was born. He said, I wish I had never lived. And he keeps going, and things are just not looking great for Job. His friends are kind of rude to him, and it's just like, man, a mess. But then we get some more to the story. We see him crying out to God, and Yahweh intercedes. God comes into the story with these speeches to Job. And basically, we can sum up God's speeches like this. God is God, and Job is not. God puts Job in his place, declaring, I am the creator. You, Job, are the creature. God is making a point to Job that Yahweh is God, Job is not. And friends, God is God, and we are not. Even though we like to live our lives like we are God, we like to live our lives as though we are trying to build up this perfect kingdom of our own, we have to acknowledge that we are not God. God is God, and we are not. God doesn't explain Job's suffering after Job's cried out in the midst of his deepest sorrow and says, God, what the heck is happening? No. God, instead of doing that, he looks to Job and says, Job, I am God. There's complexities you won't even understand. I created the heavens and the earth and everything in between. I am committed to creation. Job, how dare you ask that? Job, you know how wise and how just and how committed I am to this broken reality. God justifies and professes his supremacy as God is just and wise, and it's displayed all throughout creation. So in closing, this book isn't about the meaning of suffering. Sometimes we don't know why people suffer, and Job never gets an answer. Just like some of us never get answer to our suffering, But what we can acknowledge in the midst of our suffering, like Job and in Yahweh's speeches, we can acknowledge that God is God and we are not. God is creator and we are creature, and we need to trust God's wisdom and God's justice even amidst the brokenness all around us, this broken reality, because in the midst of it, God is committed to creation. Our Creator is committed to His creatures. God is God and we are not. That's it.